We are La Force. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, a weekend series. 9 games to go in the regular season. It's Blues night, but baseball here in Busch. It's the Giants and Cardinals on Fox Sports Midwest. Jim Hayes is here. That's Brad Thompson. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Cardinals baseball. Obviously, from this point forward, every game so important for the club.
Well, no doubt about it. And this time of year, if we are talking about magic numbers, that means the Cardinals are doing something right. You see, the magic number is 9. We know the opponent, San Francisco, Milwaukee, Chicago. It is going to be entertaining down the stretch.
The BP, brighter picture. Let's take a look at it. And it's a look at the wild card standings of the National League. The Cardinals, 3 games back in Milwaukee, a game and a half in front of Colorado. The Rockies in Arizona tonight, and they'll face Zach Greinke. Scoreboard watching time. A big series here in St. Louis. Game 1 of 3. Packed house, pennant race, baseball. Budweiser, wherever legendary MLB. By Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. And try something different like Jack's Teriyaki Bowls, only at Jack in the Box for a limited time. Big Friday night here in St. Louis. Final days at Busch, unless they get to postseason play. The journey starts tonight. Baseball coming up. Send us home. Let's walk it off. Munoz with a drive. It's at the wall. Walk it off. A remarkable comeback for the Cardinals. Walk it off. You bet. DeYoung delivers. Adams a drive. Deep right. Do it yourself, big man. Gone. It's gone. Some of the great moments thus far here at Busch Stadium in this regular season, and now the final homestand is upon us. With Brad Thompson and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Beautiful night for baseball, 76 degrees, a little chill in the air, and it feels like playoff baseball, and for all intents and purposes, from the Cardinals' perspective, it certainly is.
No doubt about it. This is what you want. You want to get to this point of the year where you have a magic number, where you are counting it down, and the Cardinals have their fate in their hands, and that's what you play for. This team has battled all year long. We've seen them get better and better throughout. The guy on the bump today, John Gant, has had a lot to do with that. He has been great in this rotation. This has got a chance to be a fun 9 games down the stretch.
The Cardinals with a 1.5 lead in front of Colorado. And a look at the numbers for John Gant. He is 7-6. There are times he goes out and it looks like he's going to dominate, and sometimes he does. Other times, and you can see it early on, it's a lack of location.
Yeah, that is, and it will happen, and it catches up quick. The one thing that is great with John Gant, as we see the pitch arsenal here, he likes his fastball. We know the Vulcan changeup is his go-to with 2 strikes. The one nice thing is, if in fact he falls behind, if he walks a batter, he's usually got that changeup or that good sink where he can get a ground ball right afterwards.
Bruce Bochy and the Giants, it's been a injury-riddled season, a disappointing years. They come in 72-81. Bruce Bochy is headed to the Hall of Fame. Here's a look at his lineup. Blanco, Panic, Longoria, then Crawford batting cleanup. Nick Hundley, Shaw, Garcia, Slater, and we know he can swing it. The pitcher batting ninth, and that's Madison Bumgarner. And Mike Shildt on the other side. Remarkable turnaround. Not many thought that the Cardinals would be in this position, but Mike Shildt, John Mozeliak, Michael Gersh, they all said one game before the All-Star break when the managerial change took place, there's enough talent here to win. We've got to get it going. We think we can. Well, as you mentioned, they put themselves in a position to go to postseason play.
They did for sure, and I know that there have been some personnel changes. The players have changed, but for the most part, your nucleus is still intact, and these guys have played better. They've battled, they put themselves in this position, and you know this group is hungry. They want to play in October.
Gregor Blanco at the top of the lineup against John Gant. It is a big crowd, a sellout here at Busch Stadium. A Blues hockey night. Darren Pang and John Kelly throwing out the ceremonial first pitches. The giveaway, a hockey themed jersey with the Cardinal logo. Both teams have come together and united here in St. Louis. And the first pitch to Blanco. Taken for a strike, and we're underway. Think about John Gant, a mid-90s fastball, good breaking ball that doesn't get talked enough about. And of course the changeup, which is just a sensational pitch for him.
It really is good. The action on it oftentimes comes out looking like a split finger, just drops off the table, but he's done a great job of stuff like that. Just gets ahead, then establishes the inner half so he can go back away.
And Blanco looks at a ball, 2 balls and 1 strike. It feels like a playoff game. The atmosphere feels that way with the fan base. Everybody around town talking about the St. Louis Cardinals. That's inside 3-1, and that's why you'd love to see the tone set not only for tonight but for the weekend get off to a good start.
Well, you realize that the Giants are out of it. They're not playing for their postseason life, but they would like nothing more than to ruin yours. And then the competition gets tougher and tougher. You face the Brewers, then the Cubs after that. Setting the tempo would be great.
3-1 pitch is popped up. Ozuna coming on, and it's out of play. Three and 2 the count on Blanco. Jerko is playing way off the line at third base. My assumption is he thought that was going to get out of play.
Yeah, a lot of times off the bat of a lefty, that thing just continues to tail that way. It stayed true, though.
3-2 hit up the middle. Backhanded by Wong. The pick at first by Carpenter. One of the reasons the Cardinals are in this spot, the defense of Colton Wong ranging to his right.
Well, you know how talented he is. Quick hands here. Probably doesn't need to be this quick, but makes the play. Nice pick over there at first base by Matt Carpenter, and great job by John Gant getting right back in that.
The Cardinals defensively tonight. Around the Horn presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. That trio in the outfield. On the infield for St. Louis, Jerko, DeYoung, Wong, and Carpenter. Yadier Molina behind the plate. Here's Joe Panik, and strike 1. This is a Giants team that's dealt with a lot of injuries. They have pitched fairly well. Hitting, though, at times has been suspect. Ground ball. Wong again to his right. So smooth for out number 2. And the batter will be Longoria. Buster Posey done for the year. Brandon Belt dealing with a right knee issue. Cueto done for the year. Samardzija as well. And Pablo Sandoval dealing with a right hamstring injury since all the way back in late July. So a long year for Bruce Bochy.
No question. It is hard to win games with all those guys out, and it's not like the Giants don't go out and spend money. I mean, that's the highest payroll in all of baseball, and you see that list there. Got a lot of them just sitting there on the DL.
$221 million. By comparison, the Cardinals payroll 13th on opening day at 146. The Giants, the highest payroll in baseball. Remember, they acquired Andrew McCutchen. He since has been traded away. They acquired Longoria. And we mentioned all the injuries that they've had. 2-0 is popped up. Carpenter over and out of play. There was some talk that the Cardinals had interest in Evan Longoria in the offseason, but wound up with the Giants. After so many seasons in Tampa Bay. You don't see his reaction get too high, too low, Mike Schilt.
No, he is pretty even keel out there.
The 2-1 pitch. Good changeup, and it's 2-2.
It's a really good pitch right there in a hitter's count, looking for a fastball, ends up dropping that. That right-on-right changeup is so effective. You see the Vulcan grip, and you see that thing just tumble right off the table. Catches him out in front.
And the 2-2 pitch. Ground ball, base hit, left side. And the batter is Brandon Crawford. Shortstop, always known as a terrific above average defender, one of the top shortstops in baseball defensively. But he's added to that here recently. And I say recently, 2, 3, maybe 4 years, the offense has matched the defense. He's a good player.
Look around that infield for the Giants. You see a lot of gold gloves. Crawford obviously being one of those. You mentioned the bat coming around. Very good fastball hitter. One thing he does struggle with, which works out well for John Gant, is the changeup. Only hitting a .112 against the changeup this year.
And a strike. Also, there are so many ways to break down what's happening with teams. The Giants, for whatever reason, they have really struggled against clubs that have good pitchers in terms of a fastball. Worst in baseball against the fastball.
It's kind of a hard one to figure out, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure they're all scratching their heads over there.
A swing and a miss. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. You know, you say that because every team everywhere has pitchers throwing 95 or above, whether it be in the rotation, coming out of the pen.
Well, and
maybe it's the age of player. I don't know.
It could be. You think approach. You look to hunt fastballs. You get one early in the count. You're aggressive on those, and then you react off speed. Oftentimes, you don't very rarely, unless you have a matchup where you just know what's coming. That guy's going to throw you a slider or changeup, whatever it is. You rarely sit on those. I mean, you're looking to hunt fastballs, and they have had some trouble doing that this year across the board.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Crawford with a runner at first base. The next by Gant, and a grounder tapped foul. How things have changed. These two teams split 4-game series out in San Francisco July 5th. Cardinals were 4 games out of the second wild card after that series. The Giants 4.5 out. And obviously a different story the second half for both these clubs. Here's a 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Giants' next loss will give them their 2nd consecutive losing season. Something they're not accustomed to in their recent history. The 2-2. Spoiled by Crawford.
You win 3 World Series within 5 years. You keep pushing it, don't you? You keep trying to acquire players, and we already talked about the payroll, so quite obviously they were going after it. But when you have all of the injuries, all of a sudden you look at your roster and say, oh man, it got old quick. It's kind of in the position that they're at. Got to credit them for keep going after it, but might be a little bit of a rebuild right here.
2-2 the count on Brandon Crawford. And a check on the runner at first base, Evan Longoria. John Gant lost his last start against the Dodgers. That was Saturday here at Busch Stadium. 6 runs in 4 1/3. An eventual ugly loss, 17-4 to the Dodgers. Did not factor though into that decision. The 2-2 inside. The matchups for the series, Gant against Bumgarner tonight. Wainwright, Derek Rodriguez tomorrow, pair of right-handers. Miles Michaelis on Sunday for the Cardinals against Andrew Suarez. They'll play behind the runner, off with a pitch and a swing and a miss. Off-speed delivery, and Crawford strikes out. The first strikeout for John Gant tonight. Coming up, trying to get it going again, Matt Carpenter, the Cardinals' leadoff man. Game 1 of this weekend series, and there's no score. At bats, and he'll face Madison Bumgarner, and he's at the top of the lineup, followed by Jose Martinez, then Paul DeYoung, Marcelo Ozuna, the cleanup man, Jed Jerko, Yadier Molina, Harrison Bader, Colton Wong, and the pitcher batting ninth, John Gant. When he's right, he's one of the game's best. He's been one of the great postseason pitchers of his generation, Madison Bumgarner.
He is one of those guys where you want to buy a ticket to watch him work. And you see the arsenal there, throws his fastball, loves the slider, and that slider can be tight. It'll look just like a fastball, and other times he can make it bigger. Got a good breaking ball. The right-handers will see a lot of that. And we know this. He's got probably 2 starts left. This one more versus the Dodgers. To him, this is the postseason right now. These are the biggest games for Madison Bumgarner.
Last time he pitched here in St. Louis, game 1 of the 2014 National League Championship Series. 7 2/3. Giants won that game 3-0. It's actually a game below 500 against the Cardinals in 9 starts in the regular season. 4-5. And the first pitch, a ball to Carpenter. Unique delivery that he features, Madison Bumgarner. And the 1-0 pitch. Ripped into right, and a base hit for Carpenter. He's set. Came off the bench as a pinch hitter on Wednesday. Off day yesterday. Let's see if we bounce back here tonight. Our Toyota key to the game.
Well, this one is simple, but it's important. Take care of business. Cardinals right now sitting in that second wild card position. If they do their job, if they take care of business, they're a postseason team. Tough task tonight against Madison Bumgarner. Great start, though.
Jose Martinez at the plate. Still among the league leaders in average at 304. 16 home runs, and he's driven in 80. Dropping down a bunt. Tough play here. Longoria. And the stretch hit first by Garcia. Boy, what a beautiful bunt. Hit just a little too hard there by Martinez, but it does advance Carpenter to second base. The Giants defensively around the horn, presented by Dobbs. Shaw, Blanco, Slater in the outfield. Longoria, Crawford, Panic, and Garcia on the infield. Nick Hundley behind the plate. How about that? Dropping down a bunt in the first.
Well, I'll tell you what, pretty good touch he had there, at least angle-wise. If he deadens that a little bit, I think he's got it. Just a little bit too firm. Longoria picks it pretty well over there, still at third base.
Now the Cardinals shortstop, Paul DeYoung. He's been on a tear here recently in the top 3 of runs batted in the National League since the All-Star break. DeYoung rips it to third, and Longoria makes the play.
Not sure Paul DeYoung's going to be able to hit this ball any harder than he does right there. Catches one up, and it just happens to be right at Evan Longoria. I mean, he scorches this thing.
And with 2 outs, the batter is Marcell Ozuna. Had the injection and the shot in the right shoulder, and since that time, coming off the DL, he's been on a tear. Average up to 281, and strike one and a big rip.
Doesn't seem quite fair to throw Madison Bumgarner in this same category, but he has had his success also against lefties, hitting over 300 against lefties, showing off some power there. We know Bumgarner's a little bit different animal.
And the 0-1 taken high, a ball and a strike.
That's one thing we've seen Marcell Ozuna since coming back be better on. If you still bury that fastball in, you can get in there. But if you make a mistake now, he's making you pay for those mistakes. It seems like he's just a tad bit quicker. Those balls that he was fouling off a couple of months ago, he's driving those in the gap and over the wall.
1 ball and 1 strike. Off the end of the bat and a foul ball. Talking with John Mozeliak the other day, the president of baseball operations, he mentioned the extension that Ozuna is starting to get. And you're seeing that with his swing and his finish in both hands coming through, not just one arm and then the other arm coming off the bat with the swing.
It looks free and easy. Before, when he was dealing with it, we know that that shoulder is not 100%. It seemed like there was one swing, one bat path that was going to work for him. Now he's got multiple. I mean, his body is allowing him to get into his swing.
Article today in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch paraphrasing what he said, but said in Miami you play for numbers, in St. Louis you play to get in the playoffs. He said, I want to taste it.
Who wouldn't?
Count even. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And now Ozuna calling time. Rain delay. Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. In Pittsburgh, 3-1 the score. Pirates on top. Into center. Ball sinking. It drops. Here comes Carpenter. 1-0 Cardinals on a 2-out single by Marcell Ozuna.
Well, we were just talking about Marcell Ozuna being able to barrel some stuff, getting the bat to the ball inside. This one, a breaking ball away, well-located pitch, and he just gets enough of this one. You don't have to crush every single thing to make something happen with 2 outs. you put the ball in play, good things might happen. Matt Carpenter obviously with 2 going right off the bat. And the Cardinals get a nice lead off of against one of the best pitchers in all of baseball.
For Ozuna's 30th go-ahead RBI of the season, and that leads the National League. 1 ball, no strikes on Jed Jerko. Sitting on 11 home runs. 2-0. White Sox over the Cubs today, 10-4. That is a final. Phillies in the bottom of the 3rd, a 1-0 lead over Atlanta. Helmet flying off the head of Jed Jerko. He was trying to make it 3-0.
That is one thing that Madison Bumgarner does a lot. If in fact he does fall behind, specifically 2-0, that slider is his go-to. Nearly 70% of the time. He's got such good feel for that thing. He can throw it for strikes whenever he wants.
The 2-1 pitch. 2-2. What a shock. A rain delay in Pittsburgh.
Happens every once in a while. I believe I did 1 series on the road this year with you, and I think we had a tad bit of a delay. It happens.
Jerko jumps on the pitch into left center. Ozuna around second, racing to third, and they'll wave him in and then stop him, and he's back in safely at third. You could see Oquendo was really hesitant, making sure it was a clean transition back into the infield, and it's runners at second and third here with 2 outs.
After a couple of really nice sliders there by Madison Bumgarner, Jed Jerko ends up getting the pitch that he likes the most. You see this fastball here up in the zone. Jerko handles that really well, and we see Marcell Ozuna running hard. You see Oquendo bringing him, sees the transition, and has him put on the brakes here. The Cardinals got something going again, need another big 2-out knock.
This is exactly the start from the Cardinals' perspective that they wanted. Big crowd, electric atmosphere, jump out early.
Well, you know how quick we've seen it, how quick Madison Bumgarner can quiet 45,000 people. This is a great start, but keep it going.
Wild pitch, but right back to Hundley. There's so many different ways that ball could go, and the Giants get a break as it comes right back to the catcher, Nick Hundley.
Obvious cross-up right here in this thing. My goodness. Dan, I got to be honest, I don't recall that ever happening to me. Where you just throw one past and you get lucky and it pops right back.
I mean, that ball could have gone anywhere to where we've seen a runner at second score. Here's a 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes on Yadier Molina. Harrison Bader at the on-deck circle. And with runners in scoring position, a .287 average this season for Molina. Jerko at second. Ozuna down at third. The 2-0. Molina hits it up the middle. Crawford, though, to his left. And a nice play. The Cardinals strand a pair. Bumgarner, after 4 pitches, had 2 outs. And then a 2-out rally. The RBI for Marcell Ozuna. 0 for 17. With more on that, let's check in with Jim.
Dan, as you pointed out, Matt Carpenter did pinch hit on Wednesday, but had the day off otherwise, and there was the off day yesterday. Matt told me that getting 2 days off at this point in the season can make a big difference physically. He told me just getting a chance to rest and reset your body is a big deal. Apparently so. Carp just snapped that 0 for 17 with a base hit. Mike Schilt told me we're not concerned about Carp. We're always happy to have him lead off the game for us. He's taking quality at bats. That's all we can ask for. Dan, Matt told me before the game he was looking for a big bounce back game tonight. It's off to a good start for him.
No doubt. And Marcell Ozuna with the 2-out single off the end of the bat to center field to drive in Carpenter. That's driven into right center. Bader won't get there. One hops off the wall, and Nick Hundley on his way to second base. And a leadoff double for the Giants. We had the honor earlier today to MC the annual Cardinal Care grant ceremony. 85 area nonprofits walking away with some checks, some grants, chance to help out area kids and youth. Nearly $200,000 issued to those nonprofits, and since its inception, over $24 million handed out by Cardinals Care.
It's impressive. Huge for this community.
Not just the ball fields, but it's Redbird Rookies, which is not just baseball, but so many different aspects of life to help kids, in particular in the inner city. They do such a wonderful job. Congratulations to Michael Hall and his staff. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Chris Shaw. Nothing in 2. The Vulcan changeup. Did you ever try it?
I did. When I was coming up through the minor leagues, I had a sinker, I had a slider, but I could not come up with a changeup, and I tried it. But for me, I could never get that to feel comfortable. That's the biggest thing about a changeup. It's got to feel good. And quite obviously for John Gant, he took to that thing quickly because he looks incredibly comfortable. That thing falls off the table for him.
Throw it at any time in the count, too.
To righties, to lefties. We've seen him show it off to both of them. And to me, the right-on-right changeup is something that is underutilized in baseball. You just don't see it enough, and it is quite effective.
Here's an 0-2 pitch to Chris Shaw, fouled away. I would think something that Gant has to watch out for, or anybody that throws a Vulcan changeup or a split finger forkball, whatever you want to call it, but trying to get the grip and not trying to give it away as you dig in the glove to get the proper grip.
For sure. And hitters are incredibly smart at picking some of that stuff up. Another one of your partners, Jim Edmonds, incredibly good at that. Always did it when he was playing. And it's just a little different.
DeYoung kicks it. Everybody's safe. Runners at the corners now for the Giants.
All it takes is you turn your glove a little bit more. You open it up a little bit more. These guys know what's coming. I'm sure he's quite vigilant on this. You see DeYoung trying to come across, just loses the handle on that one.
It's ruled an infield hit. And now Aramis Garcia with runners at first and third and nobody out. We talked about it earlier. For the better part of about a 5-6 year run, is either St. Louis or San Francisco coming out of the National League to play in the World Series. Two franchises with great success in recent history, remarkable overall histories. The Giants moved out west with the Dodgers. So many fantastic names and players along the years, and we know about St. Louis. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Garcia. 1 ball and 1 strike. Keep an eye later tonight on the Rockies and the Diamondbacks score. Tough test for Colorado. Zach Greinke going for the Arizona Diamondbacks at home. Here's a 1-1 pitch. John Gant to Garcia.
A good changeup right there, the right on right, as we talked about. Did a very good job of holding the ball too. He paused for a while, slowed down the running game. That also messes up the hitter's timing. It just buries this one under the zone, coming out of his hand. That thing looks like a strike. Look like it's going to be up in the zone. It just tumbles off.
Here's a 1-2. Full count. Seen Molina a few times past week dealing with the hamstring, about 80-85% pick this ball. It's good to see him get out and able to block it.
It's tough. You know, Yachty, he's going to be out there, and for him to even take a couple of days off, you knew he was barking big time. He's going to get out there as soon as possible. But he knows how big that run over at third is. He knows who they're facing.
And the 3-2 pitch. Got him. Second time tonight to go with a changeup on a 3-2. He struck out Crawford with that identical pitch. Take a look at our Kia drive to success. And the changeup this season so effective for John Gant.
It has been really, really good. Getting a ton of swing and misses. Only allowed a couple of home runs off of it. Every once in a while he'll get one that hangs up in the zone. Haven't seen too many of those early on. He goes to that in a spot. That's a big strikeout right here. A ground ball gets you out of the inning.
So 1 out. Runners at first and third. That's it out of play. Big Cardinal fans. Rock, Gregory Brown, Brian Anderson love the Cardinals. Never miss a game. And watching tonight on Fox Sports Midwest. Huge Cardinal fans. Hope they're enjoying the telecast tonight. Three hits aside. And the 0-1 pitch to Austin Slater. Fights it off, and oh, it's caught by DeYoung. And that saves a run and takes a hit away.
Well, Gant does a great job of getting in here in his kitchen. He just fights it off, and DeYoung showing that athleticism, gets up there, hangs up long enough to get this one. And absolutely, as you said, saves a run. Big time play right there by Paul DeYoung.
So 2 outs, runners at first and third. Don't overlook Madison Bumgarner. There have been times over the years Bruce Bochy has gone with Bumgarner as a pinch hitter, even with available position players. Man can hit. 17 career home runs now in his 10th big league season.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And he hits them off good ones too. That was Greinke right there. I believe in that game he might have got him twice.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
There's no courtesy fastballs when Madison Bumgarner is up there. Oftentimes you just throw the pitcher that fastball away knowing that he can't handle it. We've seen a couple of off-speed offerings already from Madison Bumgarner, especially in a spot like this. Runner in scoring position, you're giving him everything.
The 1-1 pitch. Backs up for a ball, 2-1. The 2-1 pitch to Bumgarner. Outfield deep. They're straight away. Check swing. He went. Evens it up at 2-2. The umpires tonight: Mike Estabrook, Chad Fairchild, Roberto Ortiz, and Kerwin Danley, the crew chief. He's gone with that changeup in this spot. The 2-2 pitch to Madison Bumgarner. Fastball, and he caught him looking. Bumgarner having words with the home plate umpire. And Gant is out of a second inning jam. Your #1 Cardinals app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Cardinals home screen icons and features such as live radio broadcasts, the MLB.TV Game of the Day, and so much more. Download MLB at Bat today. Harrison Bader coming off a big series down south in Atlanta. 3 for 8. The 4 runs batted in. The Kubota power stats for Harrison Bader. So it's Bader here, 7, 8, and 9, followed by Wong and then John Gant. Madison Bumgarner words with the home plate umpires. We went to break, and Bader on the first pitch hits a fly ball out to shallow left. And there's one away.
I was kind of hoping that that conversation would linger and Madison would let his emotions take over for a while, but he didn't. He got his point across. By the way, the pitch was a good one. It was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball on the corner. Looked like a strike, but it's one that Madison Bumgarner said, hey, I better be getting that one too.
Here's Colton Wong hitting .247, 9 home runs. He's driven in 36 and looks at strike 1. Brad Thompson, my analyst tonight, and no better guy to talk to about late season runs. Your 2006 ball club won the World Series, and it was about this time you guys were just teetering, hanging on by a thread. Yep. Then all of a sudden it clicked, got the health back in '06 and made that great run.
Well, I think that was for sure the biggest key. That team was talented, had a lot of great players on it, had arguably the best player on earth in Albert Pujols, Jim Edmonds, Scott Rowland. I mean, we had a lot going on, but there were injuries throughout the entire year, and it finally just happened at the end of the season as we got ourselves into the playoffs. And by the way, 83 wins doesn't buy what it used to, but once we got there against the Padres, the team was healthy.
Wong sends it out to center field. Gregor Blanco there. And there's 2 outs. It was 3 years ago, Gregor Blanco in this ballpark made one of the best catches we have seen since the ballpark opened up in 2006. He's a very good defensive center fielder. Matt Cain had a perfect game, you may recall, at AT&T Park. It was Blanco with the catch in right center, diving on the track that saved it. And so a very good defensive player in center field. There's John Gant, who's got 2 home runs this year, and yet he's hitting .069.
Well, look, he's getting bang for his buck when he's out there. All it takes is that one swing. He's got some power. He's shown it off already. That last one that he hit was a bomb.
John Gant, the home runs. One against Pittsburgh back on the 14th of August, and then another one. And that was against the Washington Nationals in the 0-2. The swing and a miss. Bumgarner has his first strikeout. John Paul Morosi is coming up when we come back. Playoff push against the Giants. Action starts at 11:30 Central on Fox and on the Fox Sports app. John Paul Morosi, insider for Major League Baseball, and don't forget he does a little hockey too. A
little bit.
MLB Network, Fox, everywhere else. You're a writer, and now you're in the booth. Good to see you.
For the first time up here, Dan. It's great to be here with you.
Great to have you with us. Are you surprised at this point in the season the Cardinals are where they are?
I am. I remember we saw each other in July, late July,
right,
and I didn't think I would be coming back for big, meaningful games in September here, but I think it's a credit to Mike Schilt, what he has done. A lineup with the most runs scored in baseball, Dan, in the second half. The Cardinals have done it, and really remarkable. I think it really speaks to the strength of the farm system and the moves they made to clear the playing time for Bader every day and Martinez every day. It's really just changed the whole nature of this club, and they are one of the fun teams to watch in the game right now.
Gregor Blanco, Joe Panik, and Evan Longoria, 1, 2, and 3, top of the lineup here for the Giants. And again, the game tomorrow, 11:30, Fox Channel 2 here locally in St. Louis. And the first pitch by Gant is taken for a ball. Your impression of Mike Schilt and the job that he's done?
Outstanding, Dan. And I think the first time I met Mike, I love the fact that he had on his desk here at Busch Stadium the revisions he was helping to work on the actual book, The Cardinal Way, for next year.
And there's the first out here in the top of the third. As of course many know, a disciple of George Kissel, if you will. His teachings, keeps a black book that was handed down by George's son with those teachings. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It really is, and I think, Dan, it's such a special franchise here in St. Louis to know that the person leading it has such a great heritage in the organization and wants to tie the past to the present. You can tell that with even the players he worked with throughout the minor leagues, that loyalty they all have to him is palpable, and they have played for him. It was right around that time, of course, that there were all those changes in the bullpen, and I think that comfort level of settling in for the young relievers, you can tell that ease they have with their manager now, Mike Schilt.
Joe Panik at the plate, grounded out to Colton Wong, had to range to his right to make that play, first time up, and the 1-0 by Gant. Fly ball out to Marcell Ozuna. This will be 2 quick outs. Budweiser, what's on tap? Adam Wainwright will go tomorrow for the Cardinals. Maybe the game and the start of the year for St. Louis. Sunday night baseball, and Adam Wainwright was magnificent. Vintage Waino. 6 innings, couple of hits. He struck out 9, and he'll go tomorrow for the St. Louis Cardinals. Waino even said to me, and he was up in the booth with us, he said, even I had some doubts at some point coming back. And if they can get back to having Adam Wainwright and the guy that they know and love here in this town, who knows what could happen with the Cardinals.
You're right, Dan, and it really tells us that in this year of velocity, of strikeouts, and certainly Adam had a lot of them on Sunday night, but the obsession we see around the game with velocity, that Adam was able to do what he did on Sunday is remarkable. Speaks to the person he is, the competitor he is. And I love the fact, Dan, that here we are late in September, and you've got Matt Holliday and the Rockies are the team that are chasing Wainwright and the Cardinals. And I know certainly the people of St. Louis don't want to see a one-game playoff there, but it's a great story to see both these 2 great competitors and world champions big factors in pennant races right now, and certainly for the Rockies tonight, Dan, tough for them. Trevor Story is still out. I like the Cardinals' chances to hold on to that, at the very least, that second wild card spot.
2-1 pitch driven out to left center, and Bader on the move to grab it. Won't have to worry about it as it hops over the wall for a ground rule double. Longoria 2 for 2. I was going to ask you that, as you look at where the Cardinals are, 9 games left to play. Game and a half in front of Colorado. Still a chance to catch maybe Milwaukee, you never know, or even Chicago. There's 3 games left with the Cubs at the very end of the season. How do you think it shakes out?
I think the Cardinals take one of those 2 wild card spots, and I think, Dan, in general, I'd be pretty confident that we'll see 3 playoff teams in the NL Central this year. And really, it's a strong statement that for so much of the season, and even right now, you've got the second best record in the league is the second place team in the Central in Milwaukee, that they've got a better record than the division leaders in the East and the West. So I think it just speaks to the depth of a division where we saw the Pirates be buyers at the deadline. But the Cardinals, I think they have proven their mettle time and time again. I think certainly a very competitive series, obviously, against the Braves this week. They showed a lot. And to me, it's a team that they've got the staying power. They've got some reinforcements in the bullpen. And to me, Dan, you look around the National League, almost every contending team has a bullpen question of some kind. There are worries even in LA still with Jansen. So I think for a team in the Cardinals that's really found their way with the bullpen as the year has gone along, that's normal, even for the competitive teams right now in the Central and in the NL overall. You think about what's happening in Chicago, and Morrow is out for the year, and Strop, who knows. So I think for the Cardinals you look at an isolation, are there some worries? Yeah, but that's normal. That's very typical right now for the contenders in this league.
Who do you like coming out of the National League? If you had to say right now, this is the team to beat in the playoffs.
I like the way the Dodgers are playing right now, Dan. They seem to be cresting at the right time. They've had a lot of issues during the course of the year, and again, the bullpen is part of it. Kershaw, though, looks more and more like himself. I think Walker Buehler this week, he is an impressive,
he was awesome
young pitcher. Reminds me a lot of a young Verlander. Just the body frame and the way that fastball just finishes so well at the end. So I like the Dodgers right now. Machado, of course, you see him maybe getting a bit more comfortable as time goes on. I think right now, 1 through 25, the Dodgers are the deepest team.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Brandon Crawford. And Gant has been pitching out of trouble all night. Crawford struck out on a 3-2 pitch first time up. Went with the changeup and the 1-2, a changeup outside. But the Giants' highest payroll in baseball, and yet they're way below 500. Older team. Who knows what happens with the Giants?
A lot of uncertainty right now, Dan, with this team in the offseason. Front office, field staff, players. But interestingly, as you point out, where their payroll is, their only major free agent after this year is Hunter Pence. And so I just checked this actually earlier today. They have the second most dollars already committed for 2019 of any team in baseball. So you think about ways to unspool how much money they've spent. It's going to be a challenge for them in a very demanding market. Of course, 3 World Series titles in this decade. There are no easy fixes there, and that's why I think there's so much questioning going on about the direction of the team. Of course, a Hall of Fame bound manager in Bruce Bochy, but there are not a lot of easy answers. I've asked those same questions, Dan, a lot of people around the game, and right now there's a lot of question marks back to me about what the Giants are going to do.
Here's a 3-2 pitch now to Crawford with a runner at second base. 1-0 our score, and it's a walk. It is pretty amazing when you look at Stephen Piscotty and Tommy Pham and Luke Voigt, guys that the Cardinals had that are with other organizations, and they have been 3 of the hottest players in baseball in the past month, and yet the Cardinals then call up a Bader, and a Munoz is here, and various players that are obviously making a name for themselves here. It just shows the depth right now, the Cardinals organization, year after year.
It does, and I know Gary LaRocque is here tonight, and John Vooch as well, and they are 2 of the stars of this organization. There's a reason why the Cardinals are so consistently good, and the farm system year after year produces great young talent. And you think about even Grichuk is playing well in Toronto, but the key thing is those moves freed up the space for Harrison Bader to come in and play center field as consistently as he is on both sides of the ball, and at bats in right field for Jose Martinez, and now Osuna is healthier. I think that's so key for the Cardinals. They had to just, I think, determine who their starting 8 would be, and then get comfortable, settle in, and let them play. And I think that's exactly what's happened, and you're able to do that when you have a rich farm system and a great culture that will consistently, year by year, produce players that contribute here in St. Louis.
And the 1-0 is a strike on the inside cutter to Nick Hundley. You know, you look at Bader and Wong, there's got to be Gold Gloves in their future.
I believe it. I love Bader's confidence. Of course, it's one of the big parts of his personality. I asked him when you were in Detroit a couple weeks ago about where he went to high school. Horace Mann private school in New York. A lot of Harvard and Yale and Princeton guys coming out of there. I said, what was it like going there? He said, there's no one in my graduating class doing something remotely as cool as what I'm doing right now. And I just smiled. He didn't say off the record. It was just part of his bravado, part of his personality, which I loved, and it just tells you how much he loves the game. He grew up around the game, playing his youth baseball in New York, and he's got that New York confidence about him that I love. And I think when you think about this great baseball town stepping in, playing center field for this franchise, how can you do it? Well, when you've got confidence, you can do it.
Absolutely. It is a packed house here tonight. 1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 outs and 2 on. Nick Hundley at the plate. 1-0 Cardinals here in the top of the 3rd. John Paul Morosi, our guest. Fox Saturday Baseball tomorrow. The next by Gant. That's in the dirt. I always ask any national insider that comes and visits with us about Yadier Molina. And Mike Schilt telling me this past week he's around 80-85%. If he had to put a percentage on it, but I watch him every day, and I've seen him since he came up in 2004. He'd be a lock for me in the Hall of Fame. What about from the national perspective?
No question about it. And I've said this before. I don't need to see any more numbers than I've already seen. I think in this game, Dan, we're still allowed to have moments, and we're still allowed to let our eyes tell us a lot. And all I know is that these years I've been blessed to cover baseball, I've seen a lot of October games here, and I've seen a lot of him doing heroic things in those October games. And I think about the Hall of Fame, Dan, in a lot of different ways, but one of them is this. When I vote about a player and consider his place in a generation, if I was going to write a story, a 4 or 5 page story about that generation of Major League Baseball, how important is that player to that story? And to me, in this century, there are very few players that you would say have been as important to their franchise as Yadier has been to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well put. And guiding a young staff here in 2018.
Yes, he's done it everywhere. You think even about 5 years ago, Puerto Rico, World Baseball Classic, he got that team to the championship game. This is not a fluke what he does, Dan. He does it every single year, and we've got a lot of metrics in this game. There are no metrics that can explain to you how a pitcher feels when, in a moment of crisis, it's Yadier Molina walking out to the mound to explain what they're going to do and how they're going to manage that situation. he has been so integral. And of course, the streak of opening day starts for him, a franchise record at any one position.
3-2 the count on Nick Hundley. With 2 outs, runners at first and second here for the Giants. Gant trying to pick up strikeout number 4. Runners go, and now the base is loaded after back-to-back walks, and it brings in Chris Shaw. Yeah, it's no coincidence when you look at the Giants and Buster Posey, and you look at the Cardinals with Yadier Molina. Those were the 2 teams going to the World Series every other year for about a 5-6 year stretch.
And Dan, we talk about metrics in the game. The catching position is still the one where they exert such influence on every single pitch that mere positioning, other more traditional defensive statistics, they just don't express the value. They don't explain what he does. You have to watch to see. And so, yes, there have been some great catchers that have overlapped with him in this time, but there's not, to me, from this time he began his career to now, been a more vital player behind the plate than Yadier Molina.
Who's your MVP this year in the National League?
So it's a great discussion. Actually, a couple of nights ago, I got into a nice back and forth with Frank Thomas about this. I think it's between Yelich and Baez. Yelich, you look at what he's done for the Brewers, best OPS in the game in the second half for a team that's in it. And then Baez, though, Dan, the first player in MLB history with more than 30 homers who has played 20 games at second, third, and short in the same season. And of course, as we know, watching this division, he plays all 3 positions at an elite level. So it's extraordinarily high defensive value. Of course, Yelich does the same thing. They both run the bases so well. So I think there's not a wrong answer, but to me, it's between those 2 players.
So 2 outs and the base is loaded. The 0-1 pitch taken for a ball inside, and it's 1-1. What's up your sleeve for tomorrow? You going to give us a preview on Fox Saturday Baseball?
Well, we're excited to be here. It's down in Orsillo, AJ Pierzynski, David Cohn upstairs, and I'll be down in the field. I think we want to make sure we bring the full conversation of the game, especially this time of year, Dan. There's so many great topics that, yes, we talk about the game that we're presented with here, but certainly those larger NL discussion topics. I'll try to make sure that by the time we go on the air, Dan, that I've had a chance to review all the tiebreaker scenarios, because I think we all root, maybe not, certainly Cardinal fans want to get the Cardinals in there clean on the last day of the season or before then, but I think there are certainly fans elsewhere that say, you know what, give me that chaotic 3-team 2-day tiebreaker, or the ultimate, the 4-team tiebreaker. Certainly we wouldn't, I know again here it'd be a little more drama than you'd want, but I think those are always fun things we talk about this time of year.
Tyson Ross is throwing in the Cardinals' pen. Bases loaded in the 2-1 pitch. One of the things I was talking about with my partner Brad Thompson is that at times Gant can lose control. Walks can be problematic, and right now that's a concern. The double with 2 outs by Longoria. Crawford walked, Hundley walked, and now a 3-1 pitch to Shaw. The fly ball lifted down the left field line, slicing foul and out of play. So the runner's off with this next pitch, and it's early, but the pitch of the game coming up. Many of these fans, normally a sea of red and white with their blues.
I love those jerseys, Dan.
Jersey, sweater, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, I should make sure I use the proper hockey term.
That's right. It's almost hockey season here in St. Louis, too. Big pitch, 3-2 to Chris Shaw. And he walked him, and the game is tied. 3 walks in a row, and that may be it. Mike Schilt is not one that waits around, and it will be it. He's going to go to his bullpen. That's going to be it for John Gant. JP, looking forward to it tomorrow. Fox Saturday Baseball on the air here locally at 11:30. And have a great telecast. Always
Thanks
good
so much,
to see
Sam.
you.
Love talking to you. Thank you so much.
You got it. John Paul Morosi. That'll be it for John Gant. Tyson Ross coming on when we come back. 6:30 tomorrow with the national telecast, the Cardinals and the Giants. Our Chevy called to the pen. He's done a nice job. Picked up from San Diego. Did make a spot start for the Cardinals in Kansas City on a Sunday afternoon that wound up being a sweep for the Cardinals. Picked up a win. But it's in these types of spots the Cardinals have gone to Tyson Ross. And for the most part, he's answered the bell.
Yeah, it's for me, this is a very important guy to have in the bullpen. Somebody that can do something like this. Look at this game. It's 1-1. This game is tight. You need somebody that can keep it there and give you innings. And Tyson Ross has proven he can do both of those things for you.
When he was in the division, 0.95 ERA against the Giants. At 3 starts and nearly a wild pitch. Aramis Garcia at the plate, and all this being done with 2 outs. Double hit by Longoria, Crawford, Hundley, Shaw. 3 walks in a row, and we're tied up. It's 1-1. And the 1-0 pitch. Taken high, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Hear the crowd a little bit uneasy. It's really taken the wind out of the sails and the momentum of this big crowd here in St. Louis when you have 3 walks in a row.
No question. I'll tell you this, though. You get out of this jam, bases loaded, still a tie ball game. You get that momentum right back, and the crowd is right back into it.
2-1. You don't get a lot of chances at Madison Bumgarner, so when you have a lead or you keep a game tight, you got to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, big hit here, and all of a sudden you're thinking, uh-oh. That's fouled back. And just to the right of us, and it's 2-2. Crawford, Hundley, and Shaw all aboard. A count of 2 balls, 2 strikes with the bases loaded. And the 2-2 is swung on and missed. So Tyson Ross comes back after falling behind. Cleans it up. A strikeout. And we're tied. It's 1-1. We found out John Kelly just a bit inside the lefty, and then Darren Pang, a sinker brought down by gravity.
JK tried the corner and missed right there. I think that is full-on hockey mentality is what that is. This is where I'm going with this. I'm going to give him credit. Hockey mentality. Make everyone uncomfortable. Whether it's a hitter, maybe a unsuspecting cheerleader standing behind where the first pitch is going on. Everybody should be uncomfortable. I think he was just setting the tempo there. It was a bad pitch.
It was just a bad pitch. Just say
all
it.
there is to it. No, I was trying.
Don't try to cover it up.
He tried hard. I know that much.
He almost hit a cheerleader.
Right. Almost.
He might have.
She's okay.
Oh, it wasn't an almost. He did. I've been corrected.
I've heard that he also apologized, and I don't think he's in trouble.
He did come up to the booth and said he needed Tommy John.
But then he grabbed his shoulder, so I don't think he knows what that is.
Here's Matt Carpenter. 1 ball, 1 strike. And a 1-1 game here in the home half of the third. You know, in hockey, that'd be an upper body injury.
Quite vague with that.
Oh, no, we would want to say it's a sore knee when we saw a guy's knee get blown out. What? No, lower body? Really?
He's day-to-day.
You're kidding me.
Aren't we all?
That's my line. And he's day-to-day. But aren't we all?
It's true. Very true.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Put in play by Carpenter to Crawford. And there's one away. So Bumgarner gets the first out. Old Dominion bringing his best. That's Jed Jerko. And also Jed Jerko and Jose Martinez are hoping to get into postseason play. Wild card or NLDS. Those tickets on sale now at cardinals.com/postseason. Would the Cardinals go on the road if they get in? Do they host at home? Still some unfinished business. So 1 out and nobody on.
You know how long the season is. I mean, you're here, you're doing this every single day, but right when you get to this point, it feels like it's all flown by because every game means so much. We're going to do some scoreboard watching later. There's a rain delay in the Brewers game. There's a lot going on right now in the game of baseball, and it makes it a lot of fun.
It's a 3-1 Pittsburgh lead over Milwaukee in that rain delay at PNC Park. Atlanta's tied the ball game up with the Phillies 1-1. A sac bunt. Don't see that very often from Jose Martinez, but that's exactly what he did first time up. And Martinez, a drive out to center at the wall, and it's going to be caught. He gave it a ride, and Blanco's there. There's 2 away here in the home half of the third.
Well, you got to like everything about this except for the result. He gets a center cut pitch, puts everything into it, drives it, looks like it's gone for sure off the bat, and this thing just ends up dying right before the 400 mark. Got a feeling he thought that was gone right off the bat, as did I.
As did many of us. Here's Paul DeYoung, who lined out to third first time up. So 2 outs and nobody on. Stubby clap jersey here at the ballpark. Congratulations to Memphis as the Redbirds won the AAA championship. Back-to-back years, the PCL. Ground ball that's hit to short, and Crawford makes the play. A 1-2-3 for Madison Bumgarner. Cardinal dugout tonight with more on Gyro and his situation coming into play this evening. We check in with Jim Hayes.
Yeah, it was a nice reunion for Gyro today. His older brother is here, and his name is also Gyro, spelled with a J, not a Y. The older Munoz has never seen his little brother play in a major league game. He got very emotional before the game. He told me, "I knew when he was little that he'd make it. I'm very proud." The younger Gyro, with a Y, saw his brother during BP and told me, "I saw he was emotional. I didn't want to tear up myself, so I tried not to look at him." The older Gyro is a pitcher. He played in the Royals, Phillies, and Tampa systems, dealt with a lot of injuries, but tonight he's watching for little brother.
Yeah, that's a very cool story to see that happen.
It's excellent. Getting the chance, man. Family, it's all about those bonds, those ties, and getting an opportunity to see your big brother, have your big brother there, one that I'm sure he looked up to quite a bit throughout his life, still does. Get to watch him on the biggest stage. That's pretty special.
It's Slater, then Bumgarner, and Blanco. Here in the top of the fourth, 8-9-1 for the Giants. They tied it up with a bases loaded walk.
Well, the Giants
2-1.
Stranded 6 so far through 3. The Cardinals have been playing with fire a bit, and obviously the walks were an issue for Gant in this one. It'd be nice to have a quick inning, get a little momentum going against our pump and strikes, get some outs early.
That's it out of play. Slater first time up with 2 runners on, popped out to short. Big gap in left center, and the 2-2 taken a bit high. We've seen at times Ross's slider can be very sharp in a wipeout pitch for him.
We saw it with the strikeout last inning with the bases loaded off of Garcia. Really good one. He's got good feel for it, can throw it at any count.
The check swing, and he went. It's a strikeout. Yachty going with those off-speed pitches with 3-2 counts.
Well, if you got a good one, you throw it. And Tyson Ross definitely got a good slider.
Here's Madison Bumgarner, who had words with the home plate umpire his first time up as he was called out on strikes with 2 runners on. First pitch swinging, and he hits it a mile high into center field. Harrison Bader coming in a few steps. Out number 2. St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by the St. Louis Children's Hospital and Washington University Physicians, Guardians of Childhood, and by Toyota. Let's go places. Even though it's a rain delay, Steve Blass and Bob Walk, Greg Brown, Jeff Levering, Bob Uecker, Brian Anderson, Bill Schroeder, the broadcasters for the Pirates and the Brewers, knowing those guys, consummate professionals, understanding how late it is in the season. I mean, that group of broadcasters, they are pros, and they will wait all night if they have to figure out what the next step may be for those teams and what happens in postseason play, in particular what's going on with Milwaukee. But that group, they are pros, and we've talked about it before. We've had rain delays here in St. Louis. It doesn't matter week 1 or the final week of the regular season. That group of broadcasters, they'll tell you if we need to stay to 3 or 4 in the morning, no problem. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Because I know we'll be watching when this game is done, certainly, to see how that wraps up.
Probably together somewhere, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Probably right here at the ballpark.
Sounds good. As you always say, we'll stay here all night for a win, though.
Oh yeah. But that group, they'll stay there all night just for the competitive nature of the sport. Brian Anderson actually told me that at times, you know, getting a payment, he said, I don't really know if I want the payment because I do it for the love of sport.
It's nice to be able to have a gig like that. You know?
The 2-2 is a fly ball lifted into right. Martinez over near the line and makes the catch. Guys in Pittsburgh, we're thinking about you. And pay them the big bucks. They're all worth it. Some of the best in the business. Big bats coming up for St. Louis. The authority of the Cardinals, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals. Along with Brad Thompson, Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Marcelo Zuna, first pitch, deep in the hole. Crawford, off balance throw, and the pick at first. And what a pick by Garcia, what a play by Crawford. That is well done.
Well, Crawford ends up getting to this one really quickly in the hole and doesn't waste any time getting the throw off. As you said, very nice pick over there at first base. Marcell Ozuna is trucking down the line. Gets him by a step.
Here's Jed Jerko, a double back in the first inning. It's so cliche, but yet so true. You let a guy like Bumgarner off the hook early in a game, he gets settled in. Then all of a sudden you look up, he's 6, 7, 8 innings deep, and you're tight in a game.
Yeah, for sure. It's been kind of a weird year, though, for Madison Bumgarner. He's had one of those years where at home he has been flat out dominant. On the road, though, it's been a little different story. He's got an ERA north of 5 on the road so far this year. You see the numbers there. The home runs have been up. Thought Jose Martinez had one last inning, and hopefully that's a trend that continues here.
Here's an 0-2 pitch to Jerko. Fouled back in a good cut. Old Dominion bringing his best. Jed Jerko in the season against San Francisco. Big numbers, 7 for 13. 3 extra base hits. 5 runs batted in. And the very high OPS, on base plus slugging. 1-2.
I was seeing a little trend there in a lot of those highlights, and we saw it already with his double in this game. Fastballs up in the zone. I don't care who you are, how good your heater is. You don't get that by Jed Jerko.
And the 1-2 pitch. A foul ball off his shin or foot. Ouch. This late in the season, a lot of bruises.
No question about it. Those things hurt badly. You know, as a pitcher, I used to enjoy.
You're going to say, wait a minute, how do you know they hurt badly?
So, just here recently, see him slam that one right off the side of the knee. I found out recently in a fantasy camp.
You were swinging a bat.
Yeah. I rake in those things. I get the hit. And
yeah, let's not go too far.
I caught myself out in front of a 50-mile-an-hour fastball and slammed it off my leg, and I thought it needed to be amputated. It's not as funny as it might look.
You with a very good sinker, did it to so many hitters over the years, and now you got a little taste of your own medicine and a late breaker there by Bumgarner.
Yeah, a decade later, I feel bad about it now. Any of the ones where that happens and you go right back in there hoping they do it again to themselves.
Well, all of a sudden, Bumgarner has retired 9 in a row. There's Yadier Molina, came up with runners at second and third and grounded out to short. Crawford, the shortstop of the Giants, he's been busy tonight.
We've seen Bumgarner just get that strike and then sliders. I mean, he just goes right at it.
Get out of play, nothing at 2. Mentioned that earlier, the White Sox defeated the Cubs. So the Cardinals, if they could win tonight, they would be 4.5 out with 8 to go. And still 3 remaining with Milwaukee, 3 remaining with the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley. The 0-2. The long look by Madison Bumgarner as he thought he had strike 3. He's saying, now wait a minute, that was a strike on me.
Maybe 6 inches the other way, but he tried to sell it.
And the 1-2 put in play by Molina, hit to third, Evan Longoria, and the Cardinals go quietly in the home half of the 4th. 5th inning rolls in when we come back. All right, Scotty, thank you. There is a 1-1 score here. Tyson Ross in relief of Gant. Short outing for him. He was cruising, had 2 outs, nobody on in the 3rd inning. Then a double, 3 consecutive walks, and that was it. It's Joe Panik, Longoria, and Crawford.
Probably the situation for Gant. Different time of the year. Maybe you allow him to try to get through that work. I mean, even in the first couple of innings, he had fallen behind but was able to execute that pitch. But right now, we showed it before the game, the magic number's 9. You know how big each one of these are, and Mike Schilt had to make the call to go to his pen. Tyson Ross did a great job getting that punch out and just stranding the bases loaded.
A count of 2 balls and no strikes on Joe Panik. The longtime radio play-by-play voice of the Missouri Tigers, Mike Kelly, is calling his 300th consecutive football game tomorrow at Faurot Field with number 2 Georgia in Columbia. Had the chance to work with Mike very early on in my career over at KMOX, and that's a long time ago. And Mike is one of my best friends, and I want to say congratulations to longtime voice of the Tigers, Missouri Sports Hall of Famer, and one of the best in the business, Mike Kelly. Game number 300 tomorrow. 3-2 the count.
Well, number 300 is memorable no matter what. You knock off number 2 Georgia, though. You remember that for a while.
Big game for Missouri. 3-2 the count on Panik. And a swing and a miss. Comes back to get him. 3rd strikeout for Tyson Ross.
3 punch outs, all with the slider, and this is another good one here. Starts middle and ends up just boring in right there. That has been a fantastic pitch for Tyson Ross.
300 consecutive games calling football, and he's seen some really good and some really bad.
Well, you'll do that over 300 games.
You bet.
You'll see some ups and downs.
One of the real good people in our business, and congratulations to Mike Kelly. Evan Longoria 2 for 2, a single to left, ground rule double, and a run scored. And that was back in the 3rd. The 1-0. A ball and a strike.
Talk about longtime voices for teams. Before the game, I was walking down the hallway up here on press row, and I run into John Miller.
Oh yeah.
So I have to say hello. He doesn't know me from Adam, but I had to say hello. He says a couple of words, and I'm just like, oh, I feel like I'm listening to the radio. Iconic. TV, everything. I mean, that voice is, it's an iconic one.
You know what I think?
What do you think?
Top 3 ever? 4, 5? He's incredible.
Yeah.
There's John Miller there on the right. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Longoria hits it out to left. Ozuna will cut it off. Evan Longoria is now 3 for 3. Celebrate the Memphis Redbirds 2017 PCL Championship at Busch Stadium on Wednesday, September 26th. Purchase of a special theme ticket, fans will take home a replica of the PCL Championship ring of 2017. Tickets available at Cardinals.com/theme. Our buddy Brian Walton, who runs or at least writes for Cardinals Game Day magazine and also runs the CardinalNation.com website, which covers the minor leagues, had a really interesting article. And he talked about sustained success at Memphis and really at all levels of the Cardinals minor league system in terms of even their attendance. A lot of teams had a drop this year in attendance, and it's at thecardinalnation.com, thecardinalnation.com, and Brian Walton does a fabulous job of covering the minor leagues, and it was an in-depth look at how the Cardinals not only have had sustained success on the field, but also in the turnstiles, which is something that's not easy to do because of the contracts that are up. Usually 2-year contracts in various cities for the teams that are connected with a big league club.
Oh, it's very difficult. But if you're able to build a good system, you build a good product, and you put that product in various towns, people will come see it. They'll want to. And the Cardinals have been fortunate over, I mean, a long time. I mean, look at all the guys. It seems like every year somebody shows up that nobody expected from the minor leagues to do big things, as Tyson Ross gets his 4th strikeout of the game. They've done such a great job of drafting, developing, getting these guys ready, and winning ball games. I truly believe that it's important. I know that the end goal is to get guys ready for here, for this stage, for the big leagues, but you got to learn how to win along the way, and the Cardinals organization take that seriously.
Alex Reyes there. Where would the Cardinals be with a healthy Alex Reyes? Whether it be in the rotation or the bullpen, Cardinals hoping and expecting him to be ready and 100% at spring training. Talking with Alex the other day, he's just working out. He's in very good shape and expecting to pick up a baseball and start throwing, and then have a what they hope is a normal off season, and then come in and compete in spring training.
A normal off season would be huge. We've only, I think we've seen him just scratch the surface, and that surface has been pretty good. The electric fastball, great breaking ball, the poise that he has out there for such a young man. Can't wait to see him just healthy and competing. And you say that for a lot of guys in this rotation. I mean, you look conservatively right now at next year's rotation, got 10 guys for 5 spots. It's a great position to be in.
There's Nick Hundley after the strikeout of Crawford. Longoria, the runner at first base. And the 0-1 pitch, up and in. There's also something to be said about having Springfield and Memphis in proximity to St. Louis. And there are some teams that do not have that. So if you have a roster move, it could be a full travel day for that player to go join the big league club.
Well, you look at the Nationals just signed a deal with Fresno.
That's my point.
As their AAA team. That's a tad bit difficult to get a guy in a pinch.
Molina. Oh, what a bullet. He got it. It's a perfect throw right on the bag. It couldn't have been any better as he guns down Longoria. It's a very good jump by Longoria. Now Bumgarner says forget it. He's starting to walk out to the mound. An absolute bullet from Yadier Molina right on the bag. Watch this. Perfect. And the tag applied by Wong. 1-1. 2019 Cardinals Magnet Schedule presented by Shelter Insurance. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. What a throw here by Yadier Molina.
Well, we've seen this so many times on a breaking ball. You see the focus right there, the quick pop. And this throw is right on the money. Wong puts down a great tag. We have seen that so many times, and it's fun every single one.
And here's Harrison Bader. All of a sudden, Bumgarner is locked in. 1, 2, 3 have gone the Cardinals in the second, the third, and the fourth. He's retired 10 in a row. Dakota Hudson starting to throw in the Cardinals' pen, with Tyson Ross due up third. 1-1 our score. Cardinals with a run in the bottom of the first. Giants a bases loaded walk in the third. And Bader hits it fair. Fun to watch him run. You know this is due no matter what. Standing up at second base. Leadoff double. Bader.
Just like that, the Cards got something going. As you said, Bumgarner's been on a roll, been sitting them down in order. And Harrison Bader gets a slider here, and he's just able to hook it right down the line and then flying out of the box like we've seen him all year. There are a lot of electric rookies around the league, and he is certainly one of them. And it is salsa time for Harrison Bader and the Cardinals. Get another one of those.
And so you have Colton Wong here, then a pinch hitter. So some pressure on the Giants, not knowing what the Cardinals may do with Wong, who's a good bunter, can bunt for a hit, certainly bunt and sacrifice. But you've got speed and you got options here against Madison Bumgarner. Wong swinging fair inside the third base line. Bader racing to the plate, and Wong comes through. 2-1 Cardinals.
Colton Wong wasting no time. Inside out swing right here, trying to make something happen, and shoots it right by Longoria down there at third base line. Seen two of them so far in this inning there, and that's just how quick momentum can change. A couple of well-placed baseballs. Harrison Bader running like crazy, and the Cardinals have themselves a lead.
There's Tyler O'Neill to pinch hit for Tyson Ross. So one way or another, Mike Shildt was going to pull Tyson Ross. Could have seen it the way that he was going in this game. He had a pair of strikeouts there in the fifth, where you could have brought Ross back out for another inning, and instead of going to your bullpen, had him bunt in this spot. One of the options.
Yeah, well, the Cardinals have a 14-man pen currently. You feel like you have a lot of guys that can eat up some innings for you. The Cardinals, we know every game is so big, and I think that you're going to see Mike Shildt manage that way, as if every game, you know, means everything, because at this point they kind of do.
A ball and a strike on O'Neill. O'Neill smokes it into center. Blanco back and makes the catch. Hit that ball hard into center field. That's out number one in the Cardinals half of the fifth. 109 off the bat, and now it's Carpenter. What I find interesting tonight, how Bruce Bochy approaches the situation with Bumgarner, and it could be his final start of the year. Now he would be in a line for another start, and I'm sure if something's on the line, they've got the Dodgers at the end of the year, he would make that start. If not, maybe you say enough's enough. But with expanded rosters, and if somebody else is on the mound, Bruce Bochy is going to use that bullpen time and again. But this man, he's a different animal.
He is for sure. Now, he did come out of his last start a little bit early, felt something on his side. It was precautionary that they took him out. Had the game meant more, he could have gone longer. But he is one of those guys, you know, he wants the ball. You see the competitive nature. You see him barking at the umpire right there. I'm sure he's a little bit upset of how this inning's gone so far.
A part of 3 World Series titles before the age of 26. His last 9 postseason outings, a .79 ERA. And that's not a 1-inning appearance. That's a starter. But he has made relief appearances, as we've seen. And he did that against Kansas City in Game 7, 2014, coming out of the bullpen. And Bruce Bochy rolling the dice. And he was magnificent. One of the great postseason appearances in the history of the game. The World Series MVP in 2014.
As just a baseball fan, it's hard to not get caught up in that. Watching that sort of dominance. And to me, I just love watching athletes, whatever the sport is, on top of their game, just feeling it in the zone. And whatever you do for a living, like maybe you have some sort of a feeling like that where you're just locked in. Well, he had that, and you knew that nobody was going to take it from him.
The great ones have that shutdown killer instinct.
Yep.
He's got it. And they want the ball in those pressure spots. Is Carpenter. Let's hope he's all right. He's limping a little bit back to the dugout. Something not right with that last swing. He was tied up. I'm sure the Cardinals would take a close look at Matt Carpenter.
You see the little wince there. Definitely a little something. Hopefully it was just a quick grabber somewhere.
Jose Martinez fly to deep center in the 3rd inning and a sacrifice in the 1st. Bumgarner now with 3 strikeouts. The Cardinals with back-to-back hits and now a lead here in the home half of the 5th. Jose hits a fly ball out to shallow left, racing in. Shaw, he missed it, and Wong is at 3rd. He just flat out missed it.
Well, Shaw had to travel a very long way to get to this one, and you know how it is when you're running a long time. The head can be bobbing around. The ball looks like it's moving. He's got his eyes on it, but just ends up whiffing on this thing.
It's a hit, and Wong with 2 outs. I mean,
Can't take anything for granted.
Yeah, I get it, but I mean, you're thinking he's going to make the catch. Didn't. 99 out of 100. That happens at this level. Here's Paul DeYoung. Mistake in left, and that is ruled a base hit. And a ball that has to be caught. The 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Ozuna at the on-deck circle. Bumgarner is hot. Saw his reaction after the misplay. You call it all you want. It's a misplay. Ruled a base hit into left, and the Cardinals now have extended the inning. 2 balls, no strikes on DeYoung. Off the plate, 3-0.
Well, he has had a few of those good pitches off the plate, though. They're balls, and he wants that call. Not getting it. The frustration, I'm sure, from the misplay out in left field. A couple of close pitches starting to boil over, and you'd hope that he just makes a mistake over the heart of the plate.
3-1. Our strike zone, that was off the plate. Just a bit. Three and 2. The final homestand of this season will be celebrating throughout the weekend and next week some of the top moments we've had here at Busch Stadium. Started our telecast with some of those moments. 3-2 pitch. Got him. Comes back to get him, and a strikeout for Madison Bumgarner. Colton Wong, the base hit inside the third base line to drive in Bader, who had doubled to start the inning. And with that, it's a 2-1 St. Louis lead. By T-Mobile with the bases loaded, 2 outs. Tyson Ross brought into the ballgame in the third inning for St. Louis.
Well, he came in and did a fantastic job. That slider was working in a tough spot, got the punch out he needed in the 2 1/3, punched out 4 and kept this game tight, gave the Cardinals a chance. They take the lead here and they hand the ball off to Dakota Hudson to keep that lead.
Our Chevy call to the pen to the right-hander Dakota Hudson.
Dakota has made a good transition to the bullpen. He put up unreal numbers in AAA as a starter, but he has been a weapon big time for Mike Shildt and the Cardinals out of the pen.
Two to one our score in the top of the 6th. Nick Hundley the batter. Hundley, Shaw, and Garcia. And a fastball, then a strike. Hudson was so good when he first arrived on the scene that when he has a hiccup, you're thinking, well, what's going on? Is he out of gas? Is he hit a wall? It's just the expectations were so high.
I think we forget how hard the game is sometimes.
Absolutely.
One thing that's very impressive with Dakota Hudson, and rightfully so, when you have the stuff that he does, you see the 96-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got good sink, got a wipeout slider, but he attacks. He trusts it. He gets ahead. And then it gets him to a position where he can use that nasty slider of his and finish hitters off.
Nothing into the count. Hundley has doubled and walked tonight. Fastball, and he struck him out. A good sinking action in on a right-hander. This is a tough pitch to hit.
This is 97, stays on top of it so well, and you see that just downward action right there. That is so tough to hit. You tie him up. And we talked about the slider. You think, you know, you have that in the back of his head that you're going to throw that, and then you have that sinker in on him. That's tough to cover.
So 1 out and a strike to Chris Shaw. And the 0-1. Boy, that's nasty again. Nothing in 2. You talk about Hudson. You mentioned being on top of the ball and what that can do for both pitches, a slider and getting the sinking action.
Yeah, you see that slider right there, and you just see a tiny dot on the ball. Oftentimes, if you get around one, not on top of it, you see a circle. That was a nice tight slider, then followed by 97 the other way.
It's a ball and 2 strikes. Chris Shaw at the plate. 1 out and nobody on here in the top of the 6th. 2-1. Cardinals with the lead. Back-to-back strikeouts for Hudson. That pitch at 98. Now, don't miss the last Budweiser Bash of the season. Tuesday in the Budweiser Terrace, fans can purchase a theme ticket to Budweiser Bash. Get a bobblehead autograph from former Cardinal Ryan Ludwig. Tickets at cardinals.com/budbash. Back-to-back strikeouts, Dakota Hudson. And strike 1. That's now 9 strikeouts inside the Giants lineup. The 0-1 pitch to Garcia. Boy, is he looking good tonight?
He looks really good, staying on top of everything. Good downward movement. He showed off all 3 of his pitches so far. Be nice to have that quick one, get back in there, hopefully add on another run or 2.
And the 0-2.
I would have to think as a hitter, that's not too fun to have 97 coming in, arm side to you as a righty, and then a 93-mile-an-hour slider darting the other way.
Strikes out the side here in the top of the 6th. And he does it on 11 pitches. Terrific work so far from Dakota Hudson. Huntley, Shaw, Garcia all go down. It's a 1-run game on a Friday night here at Busch. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Hudson strikes out the side in the top half. Marcell Ozuna looks at a strike on the inside corner. Back in the 1st inning, off the end of the bat, the BJC Healthcare difference maker, and a single with 2 outs to drive in Carpenter. 1-0 at that point. Giants picked up a bases loaded walk to tie it. And then the RBI single by Wong. So Ozuna 1 for 2, then Jerko and Molina. And a grounder that's hit sharply to short, backing up Crawford to make the play.
Watching the 2-0 while your friends go for the steal? We understand. Great Southern Bank. We're fans too.
Something to keep in mind. The third time through a lineup for Bumgarner. Opponents hitting .283. And here's Jerko 1 for 2 with a double. And there's strike one. Still in a rain delay at PNC Park. 3-1 Pittsburgh. Arizona has jumped out to a 2-0 lead. That's in the top of the third against Colorado. After tonight, 8 to play. 2 with the Giants. 3 with Milwaukee, then an off day. And the club will head to Wrigley Field in Chicago. The 1-1. I mean, this time next week, you may very well know where you're at as we play in Chicago.
You mentioned it off the top. You can kind of feel it already, and maybe it's the weather changing a little bit. Maybe it's the fact that this place is just packed full of Cardinal fans. But October baseball is on the horizon, and you know, we feel it, the fans feel it, and these guys are hungry to be a part of it.
2-1 pitch. 2-2. Pitch count at 73 for Madison Bumgarner. He was cruising along until the 5th inning, and a leadoff double by Bader, single by Wong to bring him in. And the 2-2 pitch now to Jed Jerko. Reaching for it, and a single into center field on a 2-2 pitch. AARP take on tonight. Most starts at catcher all time. And how about Yadier Molina? Most starts ever. Now in the top 9. He's tied with Brad Ausmus. On the call tomorrow, by the way, A.J. Pierzynski, who's at 1,832, 6th all time, and number 1 on that list. Ivan Rodriguez and his son will pitch for the Giants tomorrow. So that how it just all ties in.
That's right. It's a small world, baseball. Derek Rodriguez having a fantastic year.
Slowly hit, foul. And then of course you have Benji up there. That's Benji on the right. Paulo Asensio there on the left. Those guys are fun to be around.
They are. They're good people. Got to get one of those M4 hats.
And the flag of Puerto Rico and Mexico. So 1 out, runner at first. Yadier Molina at the plate. I was talking with the guys the other day about their broadcast and how many of the Spanish speaking players, their families in the Dominican or Venezuela, Mexico, wherever they may be from, but they can go to the app and hear about their son, their brother. And Jose Martinez doing some charitable work for folks in Venezuela. Jim Hayes will have more on that coming up in the 7th inning. The 1-2 pitch to Yadi. And Molina hits a high fly ball into center. Blanco under it, and he'll make the catch. Truly is a world game. There's no question about that.
Oh, for sure. And every family wants to have an opportunity to follow their kids and follow what they love, and providing that opportunity in multiple languages, it's a beautiful thing. And just being around those guys, I know how much fun they have doing the broadcast, being a part of that. And it is amazing what Jose Martinez is doing, trying to help out his native Venezuela. You always want to give back. Baseball is just a part of it. It's a vessel, you know, for what you want to do. It's a platform.
And strike one on Bader. I think he might be a very good broadcaster at some point, because he could fill hour after hour in talking. Fun to be around, Jose Martinez. And the 0-1. Drops in for strike two. Taken high, and it's 1-2.
Talked about the frustration from Bumgarner last inning. He had a missed play out and left, a couple of pitches that he didn't get the call for. He was able to settle right back in. Got to be frustrating, though. We talked about this offense also for the Giants all year. The pitching has been very, very good. The offense has been slow to come. You got Bumgarner throwing the ball like this, and not much to show for it.
So by inning, 82 pitches, his spot due up second for the Giants in the 7th inning. So decision may be coming up for Bruce Bochy and just how far he wants to extend Madison Bumgarner. Then again, I'm not sure you want to take his bat out of the lineup. You may let him hit for himself and then make the move.
That's generally not a factor, but it is for him. It was funny, his first at bat against John Gant, I believe he saw changeup, curveball, changeup, and then finally struck him out on a fastball away. Gets treated a little bit differently than your normal pitcher when he's up to bat.
And now the 2-2 pitch to Bader. Hits it down the left field line, hooking, and foul. And not by much. That corner there, we maybe see 1-2 balls that are hit right above the 336 sign, and they just sneak over the wall, and this one very close in doing that. Oh man, home run distance, but just foul.
Matter of feet.
The 2-2 pitch. Full count. Jed Jerko off with his pitch. 3-2, 2 outs here in the home half of the 6th.
We've seen it a few times already today. Full count. He's going with the slider. I mean, that's been his bread and butter. We'll see if he does it again here. And if he misses down the middle, maybe Harrison Bader can put a charge into one.
And the 3-2. Pretty good cut. Now you got to get in there if you're going to get the ball.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Good family will hold your legs.
Sometimes. Oh, she got it.
That's a winner. It was worth it.
She earned that baseball,
That's
too.
right.
The 9th pitch of this at bat. 3-2 instead of check on Jerko, who is running with this pitch. A big crowd on this Friday night here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The playoff implications. Game that is so important. Every game, including tonight, 9 to go. 3-2. And Bader hits it out of play.
Dan, just so you know, if in fact there's a foul ball back our way and you want to reach for it, I will hold your feet.
And then release him.
No, I would never.
Then I drop down and
you get it.
The Brad Thompson solo.
I don't think anybody wants that.
That's your dream, isn't it?
I think that's one of our dreams.
You're just trying to play the nice guy. Oh, yeah, I'll help you out.
Yeah, just go reach for the ball. I'll hold your feet.
Good at bat by Harrison Bader. You know, that's the kind of at bat that could knock Bumgarner out of this game. You know, pitch count getting up there now at 88. Extends the inning to Colton Wong. And make the decision a little bit tougher for Bruce Bochy.
For sure. It's also the kind of at bat, and I know that Harrison Bader has been very good at splits against the lefties, way better, but maybe earlier in the season you don't see him battle like that. Foul off a couple, be able to stay into those. I think we've seen him grow as a hitter. The numbers against lefties are good, but he's been doing this against everybody.
Lefty-lefty matchup here. Wong, a single to bring in Bader back in the 5th. And to me, that's something that has stood out about what Mike Schilt has done with his lineup. Wong is playing every day for the most part. You know, if he gets a rest, it primarily comes against a lefty. But the bigger the stage and the games and the importance, Colton Wong is in there, even with Madison Bumgarner on the mound. Strike, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike on Colton Wong. Outside, Patrick Wisdom is moved to the on-deck circle. Jordan Hicks throwing in the Cardinal pen. So you could see, if an out is made here, that Hudson stays in the game, gives you another inning, or the idea may be just Hudson for 1, Hicks maybe for 2. We'll see.
Got a lot of options at the back end of your pen. They can throw multiple innings.
Base hit into right, and Jerko being waved in. The throw to the plate, it is in time but not caught, and Jerko scores to make it 3-1. Colton Wong has driven in 2 tonight. And Jerko, well, I thought he'd be held up.
Well, he was going for it. It looked like Hundley had this thing picked, but he did not. And Colton Wong, as you mentioned, in there playing more times than not, and he always seems to come up in big spots, gets a slider here and just finds a hole, gets it done. And this is a solid throw right here by Slater out and right. And he just can't hang on to it.
The Nissan drive of the game off the bat of Colton Wong. And now Wisdom will pinch hit for Dakota Hudson. Runners at 2nd and 3rd. Jose Oquendo aggressive, and it paid off. Strike 1 on Wisdom. How about Colton Wong? 2 for 3 is driven in 2 against Madison Bumgarner.
Sometimes the numbers and the splits don't tell the story. It's
That's
just
the case.
Yeah, getting in there, getting a chance to do something.
A ball and a strike, and now activity in the San Francisco bullpen. Wong's 9th game with multiple RBI this season. Big gap in right center, and the 1-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. I mentioned our grand ceremony prior to today's game for Cardinals Care, and it was Patrick Wisdom speaking to the crowd, representing the players and the coaches, and Mike Schilt did a very nice job. The 2-1 now to Wisdom. 3-1. Carpenter at the on deck circle. Pitch count at 96. A 3-1 pitch. A check swing and a foul ball. Boy, that is a hitter. That's got to drive you crazy. A 3-1 pitch. You're looking for something to drive and just let it rip.
Yep. Well, here we are again, 3-2. It's been the story of the day for Madison Bumgarner. He's throwing in that slider. He does have the base open. Chances are you see one again here, and he's throwing that one under the zone as well. We'll see what Wisdom does with it.
The 3-2 pitch to Patrick. Now time called late. Well, if you get that slider, something to think about. A guy that's probably running on a little bit of fumes. You overcook one and the ball gets away. You've got pretty good speed on the bases in Wong and Bader, so something could happen in that regard as well. 3-2 pitch, and he got him. Strikes out Wisdom. Colton Wong, the base hit into right, and it's now a 3-1 St. Louis lead. Of a socio-economic and political crisis. Those who call the country home face a shortage of food and basic needs, and the Cardinal right fielder invites fans to purchase $10 tickets to the Brewers series September 24th, 25th, and 26th next week. Visit Cardinals.com/help Jose, and 75% of each ticket will go to Jose's relief efforts. 3-1 our score. More on that. Let's check in with Jim.
Dan, as you well know, Jose Martinez has been making it his cause to let people know about the political and economic crisis in his home country of Venezuela and how much suffering has been left in its wake. He told me today it's dangerous. He said beyond that, there's no food. People have to wait in line for 10 or 12 hours just to get something to eat. Even in hospitals, the kids go hungry. I have to let people know, and he's very grateful, Dan, that the Cardinals now jumping in and helping Jose try to get some much needed aid to Venezuela.
Talked to him many times, as all of us have, about that. He'll send money back or items, and he's just hoping, fingers crossed, that it does get to loved ones back in Venezuela. Here's Jordan Hicks. Austin Slater at the plate. It's our Chevy called to the pen, the young flamethrower of the Cardinals, who's really had a sensational year from the A-ball situation that he was in a year ago as a starter to making the club out of spring, and a dominant reliever. Our Chevy called to the pen.
Dan, I think he's made a really good jump from A-ball.
Highly successful.
Unbelievable. And the arm, and remember again the opportunity that was there right at the end of spring training. Him filling in for Adam Wainwright through a couple of innings was so dominant. The Cardinals said, man, we got to have him. We got to have him a part of this. And he's just grown throughout the year. going to need that bat.
Definitely going to need it.
Probably to ground out on a sinker. Chances are.
We're swinging a miss. There's not many that barrel up Jordan Hicks. It's happened, but not too often. Now that's the concern, is that at times you get where he overthrows, and you being a pitcher, and I say overthrows, I mean he's been hitting 101, 102, but you can see it with the eye test.
So there are times where he just falls maybe a little bit, or his body gets ahead of himself just a tad, and it's those small differences. His stuff is so good. If he throws one at 100 as opposed to 102, but 100 he stays behind and has some true sink, well, that's a way better pitch. You just don't have to do too much, and I think that's all part of the learning process. And sometimes it gets tougher when runners are on base, especially if you get somebody with a little bit of speed. You want to speed up your body, but it's important to stay slow.
Alan Hansen pinch hitting, and there's a strike. Isn't it unbelievable, though? I mean, you're saying just a little minor tweak with his delivery, but still you're getting 101, 102, 103, and for us it's no big deal to see this anymore.
I know. Think about a decade ago if he was around.
I mean, not that long ago it was the 06 championship team, and guys hitting 93 to 96. You said, boy, they're throwing the ball hard. Wong can't come up with it, and runners will be at first and third for the Giants. So Hansen turning on that pitch, and some trouble now for the Cardinals and Hicks.
Well, Hicks ends up getting this ground ball that he wants. It ends up leaking a little bit more inside than he wanted, but it just finds a hole out of the reach of Colton Wong, and if Colton Wong's not getting to it, that's a legit base hit.
And you've got the top of the lineup now for the Giants in Gregor Blanco. Twice he has grounded out to Colton Wong and also flied out to right. .102 at the bottom of the zone, but does not get the call. 1 ball and no strikes. And we saw Bumgarner not happy with the strike zone. Molina having words with the home plate umpire. Mike Estabrook. And the 1-0 hit out of play. That was Hansen's 11th pinch hit. Most on the Giants and third most in all of baseball. Little flare out to shallow left. Ozuna can make the catch. It drops. And everybody's safe, and a run will score. Not sure if he lost that in the lights at the end, but regardless, a base hit for Blanco. And the Giants have runners at first and second, and trailing only by a run, and nobody out here in the top of the 7th.
This thing softly hit out here to left field, hangs up a little bit. Ozuna playing deep. I don't know if he ended up losing that a little bit or just ended up losing steam at the end of it.
Almost overran it. So both left fielders with balls that probably should have been caught. And now Mike Maddox out to visit. It's a walk and a pair of base hits. If Ozuna makes that catch, runner stays put, and you've got first and third, and with Hicks, his ability to get a ground ball, you're talking about a double play.
For sure. And at this point, what's done is done. You've got runners on first and second, and I'm sure that's what Mike Maddox is talking to him about. Say, hey, things haven't gone your way so far this inning. Got a couple of balls that have just found their way in. Give me another ground ball. Get a ground ball right now. Turn that into 2 outs and get back to work.
Well, that ball's got to be caught in left, and now nobody out. Runners at first and second, and a 3-2 Cardinal lead. Joe Panik at the plate. Corners are in. Squares to bunt. 100 and spins away from it.
I'm not sure I'd be entirely comfortable trying to bunt 100 miles an hour. Square up. Okay.
Little sink.
Yeah, sounds like fun. At least as a lefty, it's not coming in on you.
Ouch. And this is one of the things I was going to talk about from the catching perspective. We've seen it all year long with Hicks on the mound, with the sinking action that he gets, and in this case it's a bunting spot, but there has been time and again those foul tips that catch you out of your Molina.
Yeah.
We saw one earlier this year that caught him and put him out of commission for about a month.
It is dangerous back there no matter what, but when you have a guy that throws like this, watch out.
Hit the other way in a foul ball. Now seeing that swing with 2 strikes and a guy that's throwing triple digits, you got to wonder if Ozuna should be playing in a little bit more and towards the line.
It's going to be very hard for him to barrel one out that way, that deep. Be nice to get a punch out right here.
It's 1 ball and 2 strikes on Joe Panik. 0 for 3 tonight. His time is called. There's room on the left side of the infield. He could punch it that way. The 1-2. The slider kept in front by Molina. Still limping a bit behind home plate as he's beat up here in the final week of this regular season.
It was a great job by him too to be able to get in front of that. You know how hard he throws, and that one hits the dirt, end up kicking off. It was a good pitch call too. Seen nothing but fastballs this inning. To be able to show a wrinkle can set up another good sinker.
The 2-2. He got him.
Slider. .102 miles an hour is impressive. It really is. But when you can throw this off of it, it makes everything so much better. And that slider was tight as can be. Stayed right on top of it. Yachty does a great job of corralling that thing. And once again, here we are. 1 pitch away. 1 pitch away. Ground ball from getting out of this inning, still having the lead.
Brewers and Pirates have resumed play. Bottom of 5. 3-1 Pittsburgh. 2-hour and 14-minute rain delay. Evan Longoria at the plate. Runners at first and second. And strike 1. Longoria has been one of the positives for the Giants offensively tonight. His numbers, though, with runners in scoring position, a .200 average, 3 hits tonight, 3 of the 7 for San Francisco. The 0-1. Yanked foul. Well, that's tough to do with that pitch at 101 coming in on a right-hander and turn on it. Impressive.
It is. That being said, it's going to be tough to keep that thing fair. So even if he gets to that one, if you keep it in there, not much damage can be done.
The 0-2. And it gets away from Molina at 101 on the gun. And now a base hit could give the Giants a lead. Inning that started with a walk. Hansen off the bench, a single into right. Blanco, the ball into left that probably should have been caught. Strikeout of Panik, and now a wild pitch to Longoria.
I don't even know how you get leather on that. You see that in real time from that view.
Infield drawn in, and the 1-2 pitch. Carpenter racing for it. He's over and can't come up with it. Good effort by Matt Carpenter. You know, you talk about a professional hitter, guys that understand what to do in certain situations, how to put a ball in play, how to get a fly ball. This is it. This is it for the Giants, and they've got Crawford too. And he's on deck. The point being, a younger player you might be able to expose with the stuff of Hicks at times, but these two guys,
they got an idea.
They've seen it all.
Yeah, for sure. Not, that being said, well executed pitches, they'll get anybody. That was a nice breaking ball down. You get another one down lower in the zone.
He hung that one. John Brebbia is stretching and now throwing in the Cardinal pen as his role in that bullpen grows in importance as we go along here in the final week or so.
Yeah, as it should. I believe that there's tons of talent out in that bullpen. We've seen the Cardinals roll out a bunch of them today. Maybe not as talented as Jordan Hicks, but Brebbia, his role will increase, and he'll get more and more, and he's earned more and more. I think they've got a couple of guys down there. Dominic Leone is another guy that I'd love to see, you know, get into bigger spots, and he's been earning some of those. Mike Myers, we've seen the big arm. Got a lot of guys down in that pen that can get the job done.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Evan Longoria. Can Hicks put him away? Crawford on deck. Here it comes. Just got a piece.
I know he turned on one already, but a good sinker in here. Might shattered bat, keep it in the infield.
Wow.
He tried it.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, it certainly is not a comfortable at bat against Jordan Hicks.
That would be an understatement. That's 101 buzzing your tower. Bet down and away would look like you'd need an oar to hit it at this point.
Infield in, and a 2-2 pitch by Hicks. Hit out of play. A 9-pitch at bat. And 24 pitches for Hicks. So any thoughts of extending him for another inning, even if he gets out of it, probably out the window. So you're managing and you're changing on the fly as we go. But right now he's concerned about Evan Longoria. The 2-2 again. Hit to Carpenter. Thought about going to the plate. He'll get the shore out. Hansen scores. And with that, we have a new game. A terrific at bat by Evan Longoria.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, he was one of those guys who's going to keep battling. He's going to figure it out. He's a pro. He's going to put the ball in play and make something happen. Hansen with the good jump over at third. That thing's hit well off the bat, but he sees it to the right side and just goes. And here we are, 3-3. Still got to bear down. Got a runner at third base here.
There's Brandon Crawford. So we play here in the top of the 7th. 3-3 our score with 2 outs. The go-ahead run at third. And they're going to intentionally walk Crawford. And that's what I mean. You look at this lineup, you think Longoria and Crawford are the two that probably are 1 and 1A for sure in terms of beating you. And you take your chances with others. And that'll be the case here with Nick Hundley. Intentional walk of Brandon Crawford, his 2nd walk in the game. Madison Bumgarner is now off the hook. For Hicks, his 6th blown save opportunity of the season. Into right, sinking, and the catch is made by Martinez. 2 runs scored against Hicks. Time to stretch on this all-important Friday night. Carpenter now 1-1. Carpenter with a drive into left center at the wall. Gone! It's gone! 3-run homer. Carpenter! Wow! Wow! One of the great moments this year against Washington, and that 3-run homer late. Thanks to Cardinals home runs hit this season, the Gateway Honda dealers have donated more than $180,000 to help make children's dreams come true. Together with Make-A-Wish Foundation Missouri, they help grant the wishes of critically ill children. Steven Okert, a lefty, is in to face Carpenter. We've got a new game. It's 3-3 in our Chevy call to the pen.
Well, Steven Okert is going to give you a steady diet of sliders, especially to the lefties. It's something I know in our game we don't see as much of the lefty one-out only guy, the old loogie. You might see more of them in September, though.
And there's a fastball for a ball.
Told you.
Slider after slider, first pitch, fastball.
Well, sometimes you got to go against the scouting report from the 5 games.
And the 1-0. A crowd tonight, 45,892. 45,892. The 25th sellout of the year here in St. Louis. The shift on the right side, and Carpenter looks at a strike, and it's 2-1. Take a look at the spray chart. StatCast AI, powered by AWS.
Hard to shift doubles and home runs, though. Matt Carpenter's got a lot of those.
Had him out in front and popped up. It's Alan Hansen who stayed in the game at second base to put it away for the out. So Carpenter 1 for 4 on the night. And it brings in Jose Martinez and Bruce Bochy. This weekend he's going to wear out a path from the dugout to the mound.
You think so?
Well, this is like a kid at Christmas morning. An expanded roster for Bruce Bochy.
If you got him, use him.
You got it. Jose Martinez coming up. 3-3 our scores. We step aside. Brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Ford. Going further so you can. Reyes Moranta. Appearance number 67 in our Chevy call to the pen. Jose Martinez hit one to the wall earlier tonight. He's also singled. And the first pitch, strike one.
Maranta has had a very nice year. You see the 156 average against. Got that good slider. Also throws 97.
Pitch taken high. The last home run hit by Jose Martinez, and it's been a while, was against Pittsburgh back on the 28th of August. He'd love to change that here. Here's a 1-1. It's a ball and 2 strikes. .6'7", just a little bit low. That's a tough pitch to take.
It is just under the zone. It's hard though because he already saw a slider at 83 at the top of the zone taken. You can't expect both of them to be striked.
The 2-2. That's where you can get him. It seems like lately, that pitch on the outer half. The strikeout of Jose Martinez, and Paul DeJong will be the batter. Carlos Martinez just begins to throw in case, potentially, you take a lead, you might ask him to go 2 innings. Here's Paul DeJong with 2 outs and nobody on. The slider taken for a ball.
Tell you what, it is nice to have that sort of flexibility out in the bullpen when you got different guys. Dakota Hudson could give you multiple innings. Now they decided to have a pinch hitter. Hicks can give you multiple innings. Martinez obviously can do that. All too often you see the guy that can just go 1-1-1. You're pigeonholed in a game like this. It's nice to have those options.
We've seen that Mike Schild has gone with multiple innings out of Hicks. Hudson, who's been used tonight just for 1 inning. And the 2-0 is whacked into left center for a base hit. And a 2-out single for Paul DeJong. DeJong 1 for 4, and it brings in Marcell Ozuna.
Well, you see this breaking ball just up in the zone a little bit. It's away, but up enough to handle. You see him stay balanced right there. Get the barrel to it. Doesn't get out in front. It gets something going with 2 outs. Tell you what, you hang one of those sliders to this guy, we got a way different ball game.
So 2 outs, runner at first, and a slider taken low by Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna with a 2-out single into center field. That brought in Carpenter back in the first. The other 2 times up, grounded out to short. The 1-0. Fastball, and he fouled it back. Inside. Two and one. Outfield very deep. The next to Ozuna. Another fastball, and it's hit out of play. And a souvenir for this big crowd here at Busch Stadium. Cardinals had a 3-1 lead going into the top of the 7th with Hicks on the mound. Jordan gave up a pair. And now we're tied. The check on to Young, back in safely.
It's about 95 over to first base. Dan, where are all the guys coming out of the bullpen nowadays, like 91 with decent sink? Where's that guy?
You were the last.
I'm glad I was born when I was. Though. That's what they call gravity. Is what it is.
Gets away to Young to second base. So now the go-ahead run in scoring position. And a base hit could put the Cardinals on top.
Just tries to bury a slider right here and catches Hundley. Comes up on this thing too quick. Get something going here with 2 outs. Cardinals were able to get Bumgarner out of this ball game. They've been battling. Got to get to this pen.
So you get 3 and 2, first base open.
Well, you're definitely, he's going to try to get him on a slider. You're going to try to bury it down and away, and hopefully he throws that cement mixer down the middle.
Ozuna hits it sharply to third. Longoria across the diamond. Definitely hittable. He hung it. We're tied 3-3 as we head to the 8th. St. Louis in relief of Jordan Hicks. 42nd appearance for the right-hander of St. Louis, and our Chevy called to the pen.
John Brebbia, another one of those guys in the bullpen for the Cardinals where, especially down the stretch, you'd love to see him be able to take advantage of a bigger role. And this is a big one. Tight ball game here, tied up. Like to see him run with this. He's got a great arm, good slider, good poise. A lot of nice options for Mike Schilt and Mike Maddox in that pen. Nice beard.
The Hyundai pitch arsenal. We got a haircut, but that beard still as long as any in baseball.
Well, the haircut makes it look longer, I think.
Sure
You tighten
does.
some things up in the back, but it's all party out front. So jealous of that thing. I'm 36, can't grow a mustache.
So you're saying it's business in the back, party in the front.
I think so. That's what it kind of looks like from here.
Mm-hmm.
Remember him saying a couple of weeks ago he struggles with yogurt. I could see that.
I think any type of
Soft dairy.
Soft dairy would be an issue. Milk.
Probably no cottage cheese.
No. Ice cream issues. A swing and a miss and a strikeout for Brebbia. So Chris Shaw, the first man retired by John Brebbia.
Well, you see Brebbia just climbed the ladder right here with 96, looking to go in, but ends up getting this up out of the zone and gets the swing and miss, and a good start to the inning.
It's an interesting move made by Mike Shildt, where Wong is out of the game and Munoz takes his spot. Brebbia goes into the 9 spot. You know, it's not a double switch where you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go with somebody at the top of the lineup to maybe get multiple innings out of Brebbia. Makes me think maybe something's up with Wong.
I hope not.
I mean, do you agree with that?
No, it's very logical. Look, you want Colton Wong in there defensively as much as you possibly can. No matter what the matchup is late in the game, that hasn't mattered. A couple of knocks today against Bumgarner.
And the 1-2 taken high. Colton Wong just looking down and panning the Cardinal dugout. I do not see him in there, so we'll find out more after the game. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Wong had a couple of really nice defensive plays very beginning of the game, and then had the 2 hits and drove in 2 runs. So you think there's probably more to it?
Yeah, you would think so. Having a really nice day.
And as we speculate, we get word now from the Cardinals that Colton Wong left the game due to cramping. Yeah, on the surface, it just didn't make a lot of sense.
Right. And cramping is about as good a news as you're going to get. Debilitating, but not anything where you're worried about the long-term repercussions from it.
The 3-2 pitch to Garcia. Fouled back in that one again, catching Molina. I get worried about Yadi in just how many foul tips and balls off the mask that he takes weekly basis, nightly sometimes.
Be afraid to count.
And we're learning more about those types of things. 3-2 hit out of play, and certainly you're thinking no walks in this spot. Not a tie game in the 8th.
You've got to attack. You got to go right out there. You got to let him beat you by swinging the bat.
(3-2) and he struck him out. 96 from Brebbia.
Brebbia now climbed the ladder twice on both of his strikeouts. That's punch out number 4 for Ramos Garcia in the day. Getting the job done out of the bullpen. Bullpen for the Cardinals been very strong. Small hiccup there for Hicks, but been good. Had to cover a lot of innings here today.
Rockies Diamondbacks tied 2-2, bottom of the 6th. Milwaukee has jumped out 7-3 in front of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So 2 outs, nobody on, and Austin Slater. Oh, 1 pitch. 0-2.
Well, you throw a slider for strike 1. He takes it. You throw another one down. He chases. Think about throwing another one even lower, see if he can get him to go fishing 3 times.
Cardinals have Jerko, Molina, and Bader due up. And the 0-2 pitch in the dirt. Mark Melanson, the former closer with the Pirates and Nationals, signed a big deal with San Francisco prior to last season. He's dealt with arm issues. The 1-2. He got him, and a strikeout for John Brebbia. Good work by the bearded wonder, John Brebbia. Have limited him to 32 games and 11 saves. Last year, he signed a 4-year, $62 million contract prior to last season. And when he was right and in the back end of that Pirates bullpen and the Shark Tank, boy, he was good.
Well, they don't just hand you that kind of money. You've got to do special things, and he has been for a long time a special reliever in this game. And I got to tell you, I love the way that the Giants did go about things. I mean, they went out there, they were trying to add. They had the 3 championships in 5 years. They wanted to chase more. Even this offseason, they already had that really high payroll. They go out and add Tony Watson. You make a couple of trades to bring in some veterans. And you look at the trend in baseball. I know everybody's trending young. Everybody's trending towards them. You got a lot of teams in this league that are tanking and trying to rebuild. They didn't go that direction. You kind of I did. I wanted it to work for them because there are a lot of free agents out there just waiting for jobs in the offseason. A lot of veterans out there that nobody took a chance on. You kind of hope that the Giants would be the way for some of those guys, but it has not worked out well for them.
Jed Jerko looks at a strike. Remember, Melanson was a hard thrower and had that over the top breaking pitch. That was hard too. I mean, everything pretty nasty from this right-hander. The 0-1. 0-2 on Jed Jerko, who's doubled tonight and also a single. Cardinals have out hit the Giants 9-7, but we're tied 3-3. 0-2 the count on Jed Jerko. The 0-2. Struck him out, and no argument from Jed. When you see a major league hitter back up like that, that's telling you there's late movement.
For sure. For sure. He had the breaking ball beforehand that Jed fouled off. Melanson does a good job just staying right on top of this thing. Hits his spot perfectly. And as you said, it looked like on the K zone maybe a little bit off. No argument from Jed Jerko.
There's Yadier Molina. Outfield is straight away. We're tied 3-3 in the home half of the 8th. Molina tonight grounded out to short, third, and fly to center. 0 for 3. Carlos Martinez continues to throw in the bullpen. Some bright spots for the Cardinal bullpen tonight. Tyson Ross came in with a bases loaded situation. 2 outs, got out of it. Dakota Hudson struck out the side. John Brebbia moments ago. It's been 14 strikeouts for Cardinal pitching tonight. There's a look at Ross. And you know, Yadi's got the green light on 3-0. This is sometimes he'll come out of his shoes and put one in the seats. Instead, he looks at a strike. 3-1.
Not much he's going to do with that 193 right there on the black. Very good pitch. But he can unleash here.
The 3-1 pitch to Molina. 3-2. Harrison Bader at the on deck circle. It'll be Hansen, Blanco, Hernandez for the Giants looking ahead to the 9th. 3-2 to Molina. Hits it to the right side. Handled by Garcia. Steps on the bag for the out.
Injury or illness should never interrupt childhood. St. Louis Children's Hospital, guardians of childhood.
Harrison Bader has fly to left. Doubled and scored in the 5th and walked in the 6th. Some tense moments late in this game as everybody at the ballpark knows the importance of what's happening, including tonight. 9 games left, game and a half in front of the Colorado Rockies for the final wild card spot. And Bader takes a breaking ball in for a strike.
This team throughout the year, first of all, has had a flair for the dramatic late in games, come from behind victories, battling. They've also had a tendency to put up big numbers, crooked numbers late. We've seen a couple of solo spots here. Scored 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th. Still waiting to break that open here against this Giants bullpen.
Jairo Munoz at the on deck circle. Mentioned that Hernandez coming up. He's in center and Blanco in left now. And the 1-1 to Harrison Bader. Blanco is so deep in left that if a ball is not hit on the button, knowing Bader, he's thinking 2.
It's I get it, it's no doubles, but you might turn it into a double.
Might. The 2-1 pitch. 3-1. You always start thinking ahead. Now, what if he gets on? Do you advise Munoz, can you take a pitch to let Bader steal? But you don't want to fall behind on a guy like Melant. I mean, there's all those things in motion right now. 3-1 the count. 3-3 our score. The next to Bader. Over his head into the backstop. So the fastest runner for the Cardinals is aboard. And for the first time tonight, we'll see Jairo Munoz come to the plate. Jim had a fantastic report on Munoz and his older brother here at the ballpark. First time to see him play professional baseball, and we could cap it off with a special moment here.
He talked about batting practice, seeing his brother, whose name also Jairo spelled differently, him getting emotional. He said, man, I don't even want to look at him. I'm going to get emotional as well. Well, this could send them both over the top.
Big City is at the on deck circle. 2 outs. Bader at first. Munoz, a base hit into left. Bader stops at second. And now, Big City coming up. They do have a lefty in their pen, and Tony Watson, if Bruce Bochy wants to go that direction. They're going to wait till at least he's announced and then make the decision. Now the Cardinals at times have either used Big City or even a Greg Garcia almost as a deke for the opposition, then pull them back and then bring a right-hander in to face right-handed batter to face the lefty that might come in.
A move like that certainly easier in September when your roster's expanded. But here comes Bruce Bochy.
In this case, though, the Cardinals have used Patrick Wisdom already tonight. And Tony Watson, who was so good for so many years in Pittsburgh. The lefty of the Giants will face Matt Adams, first and second, when we come back. And look who's coming up. Matt Adams, and that was one of the great moments this season. Right now they just need the base hit. Bader, the go-ahead run at second base. Tony Watson in our Chevy called to the pen. The first pitch to Adams. And it's a ball with Carpenter at the on-deck circle. 3 for 12 with a double in his career against Tony Watson. The 1-0 pitch.
Watson's got a good slider, trying to get him to chase on one. The first pitch doesn't get the call. We've seen that pitch called today, by the way. Bumgarner was getting that side of the plate. He doesn't get it. All of a sudden it's 2-0 now. Might want to come to him.
2-1.
He does. Throws the slider for a strike, fouls it back.
We saw Adams face a lefty on Wednesday and just hit an absolute rocket up the middle, but right at the shortstop. That's where they were playing him with the shift. That would have scored 2 runs. The 2-1 pitch to Adams. Here it comes. Adams hits it the other way. Base hit! Here comes Bader. He'll score. Munoz, bring him on in. Big City, do it again. He drives in 2. Cardinals. Matt Adams again off the bench.
We think Matt Adams, we think big time power. Big man's got some finesse too. Ends up going inside out right here. Just squeaks it down the third base line. Drives in 2. That's a laser in the book. And a huge knock here for the Cardinals. Couple of runs and a nice little cushion here late in the game.
And now Martinez. He'll get hot in the Cardinal bullpen. Carpenter to the plate. Matt Adams has delivered again here in St. Louis. 5-3. And many of the fans still on their feet in this sellout crowd. And a strike to Carpenter. For Adams, the 40th career pinch hit for St. Louis. Trying to bunt his way on. Nothing in 2. Not sure you like that play with Carpenter, who could drive the ball out of the ballpark, or a base hit maybe makes it a 3-run lead with 2 outs.
Yeah, you understand that Carpenter's trying to do anything for the team. Will lay one down if he sees a hit. He'll go for it. But I'm with you. I'd rather see him just sit back, drive something.
And the 0-2 pitch to Carpenter. Fouled back. The 0-2. And a strikeout of Carpenter, but Matt Adams off the bench in a 2-out rally for the Cardinals. The other way, a broken bat, just enough. A 2-run score. 5-3 St. Louis. Hansen, Blanco, and Hernandez. The Chevy called to the pen. And the first pitch taken for a ball. And we're underway here in the top of the ninth.
Well, you would have to believe that the future for Carlos Martinez most likely would be as a part of the rotation, but this year at the end of the year just wasn't in the cards. This has worked out quite well. Having this arm, we already talked about the flexibility.
And a rope into right and extra bases for Hansen. He'll stop at second base. He's 2 for 2 off the bench. Remember, a pinch hitter. He got a hit against Jordan Hicks, and now this one against Martinez, and the tying run will come to the plate.
Nice to have a weapon like that, and he puts a good swing on this one. This ball just stays up middle of the zone, and he turns on it. We were just talking about Matt Adams, the big knock. He's been so great off the bench. Hansen's been very, very good for them.
And that means potentially that you'd have to face Longoria before this game is through, as Adolis Garcia is the right fielder in for St. Louis. Here's Gregor Blanco trying to bunt his way on, and a foul ball for strike one. Blanco tonight with a base hit to left back in the 7th. That was against Jordan Hicks. Twice grounded out to Colton Wong and also flied out to right. No balls and a strike. The 0-1. Change up taken low. Nothing in, or rather 1 ball and 1 strike. Way inside, and it's 2-1 and did not go. Kerwin Danley, the crew chief, down at third. 2-1. Two and two.
Carlos getting right back into the count there with the fastball. We saw him his last time out against Atlanta. Kind of struggled with his location. Ended up walking 3. Saw a pitch already against Hansen that was up in the zone, but making some adjustments here against Gregor Blanco.
Ouch.
That's been about 3 or 4 balls in the last couple of innings that have been foul tipped off Yachty. One off of the left knee. This one ends up going off of the right knee. Had one off of the helmet earlier, as you see this one. I know that's going off of some protection there, a shin guard. It doesn't feel like it when it hits you there. Trainer Chris Conroy out to check on him. Yachty sends him off, says he's good to go. No shocker there.
Nah, he's not coming out. Not a chance. The count now 2-2. The next 2, Blanco. He got him on the outside corner. And Blanco can't believe it.
I'll tell you what, home plate umpire Mike Estabrook has called that pitch. The slider on that side of the plate off. He's been given a couple of inches here. This one seems to be off the plate. But it has been a pitch that's been called throughout the evening on that side. On the other side of the plate, it has not been called. Madison Bumgarner been upset with that one a couple of times throughout the game. But a big time pitch right there, and a much needed one by Carlos Martinez.
He didn't like the call, and I don't think I can blame him. Goes the Cardinals' way. One out, runner at second base. Gorky's Hernandez with Evan Longoria at the on-deck circle. The 1-0 pitch by Carlos Martinez. 1 ball, 1 strike. You look up and down this lineup, not a lot of power for the Giants tonight. The one guy, though, you get concerned about is on deck. Longoria with 16 home runs.
He's been seeing the ball well this evening also. Taking some big time at bats. Even his outs have been, or his out has been productive.
Ground ball. Munoz 2 away. The Budweiser play of the game. Off the bench. Matt Adams just past Longoria. Bader would score. Munoz would score. And the Cardinals with a 2-run lead. And that's what they enjoy right now thanks to that Budweiser play of the game. Evan Longoria, 16 home runs, representing the final hope for the Giants. 5-3 our score. 2 outs, top of the ninth. Strike 1.
It's big right there. Just get ahead. Get ahead, be able to work to your off speed, get that slider going, but that nice sinker in. There are outs there on Longoria.
Strike 2. Yeah, Martinez finish it off on what has been a fun night here at Busch. The 0-2. He got him! Struck him out! Win number 85 with 8 to play in the regular season. 5-3 the final. The updated standings in the wild card. As we speak, Colorado tied with Arizona 2-2 in their game in the 8th. And they're 2 games back of St. Louis for the final spot.
Well, big city with the big knock again. The Cardinals pitching staff, the bullpen getting it done. 16 punch outs on the day, and another exciting ball game here with 8 left to go.
85-69 the record. 8 to play. Post-game show comes your way next.